Welcome back to the channel. Now, if you've followed this channel for a while, you know that about Project 2025. I've talked about it in a few videos. I've mentioned it a number of times in different videos about what they're trying to do. In the last 2 years, we've talked about that. Right before the election, I put out a series of 3 different things that I really thought would be hurt because of Project 2025. I discussed Project 2025 in those 3 videos and 3 different aspects of it. Now, there was a lot more to it. But one of the big things I don't remember if I pointed out in one of the videos or not was over the National Weather Service and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA. Well, part of Project 2025 called for the destruction of those organizations. Why? Because during Trump's first time, they put things out contrary to what Donald Trump had to say. If you recall, he sharpied in where he thought a hurricane was going to go, right? Because he had made a wrong assessment of his own because he doesn't know anything about weather, which nobody would have thought anything of had he not done something stupid like sharpie it onto a board during a press conference. Now, here's the thing. As of yesterday, they fired 800 workers, almost 1,000 workers from National Weather Service and NOAA. Many of those firings came from right here in Norman, Oklahoma, right at the beginning of tornado season. The thing is, that's what the majority of Oklahoma voted for. They knew it was coming. I've talked to people no end about Project 2025 and what it would do and what it had in it. And I kept being told by people here in Oklahoma, "Oh no, he'd never do that. That's not his policy. That's what the Heritage Foundation came up with." Who do you think is funded his campaign? Who do you think pushed him into the White House? The Heritage Foundation. They've already said, they have stated that their plan is a fascist takeover of this country out of their own mouth. They said it's the second U.S. revolution, and it'll be peaceful if the left allows it to be. That's what they have said. So this is just one of those many things. And this is going to have a massive effect, not only on people losing their jobs, but on the safety of Americans. And why? Because they made Donald Trump feel inferior because he's absolutely ignorant when it comes to science? Yeah, that's exactly why. Because Donald Trump can't admit when he's wrong. Donald Trump can't admit when he's a failure. And every one of these policies are aimed at people in departments and Americans who did not support him. This is not how a president acts. This is not how a government is supposed to act. It is not supposed to act vindictively against its own people. But that's what this government is doing. That's what this administration is doing. They are trying to break every single federal agency in this country, every single one of them, so they can replace them with an Elon Musk company or one of their billionaire friends' companies. Remember a few weeks ago when Donald Trump fired all those people from the FAA, and then all of a sudden the planes started falling out of the sky. Now what is Elon Musk saying? Elon Musk is saying that the FAA is no longer functional. It needs to be replaced with SpaceX. Now, the FAA already had a private contract with, I believe it's Verizon, for their technologies to run the control towers across this country. And they've done it fairly successfully for years. Unfortunately, we fired all the workers. Now they're short-staffed everywhere. And now The IT needs help. You have to have people there to work the IT, that work in IT, to keep the software running, to keep the programs running, to keep the hardware up to date. And he fired thousands of workers from the FAA. Now those people are no longer there. Remember all those people he claimed were DEI hires, like the software engineers that were disabled. But when you don't get that warning, that that tornado was coming, and you voted for Donald Trump, don't go crying to the federal government for help. Don't go crying to people like myself and being like, oh, I didn't know. You did know. All of you knew. All of America knew about Project 2025. It was plastered from wall-to-wall news coverage for 2 years. And you chose not to listen. Unfortunately, not everybody watches my channel. Luckily, at least some of my viewers knew what was coming down the pipe. Knew what was coming because I tried to tell everybody the truth. That's all I've wanted to do on this channel. But I even had comments here saying, no, Project 2025, that's not Donald Trump's thing. Got a lot on TikTok videos too. No, that's not Trump. And everything he has done from start to finish of every single day since he took office on January 20th has been the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025 playbook. Every single thing. And almost all of his cabinet members have ties to the Heritage Foundation. Almost the entirety of the people that ran his campaign had ties to the Heritage Foundation. But you know what? People are pissed. And not just me. Congressmen, the senators have been showing up to town hall meetings back home in their red districts, like in Alabama and Texas and Oklahoma, and their conservative former supporters are out there telling them they're going to vote them out of office for the things that they're letting Trump get away with, because they're saying they didn't vote for this, but they did. They did vote for this. They just didn't pay attention. They didn't care to. Because they bought into this whole Donald Trump is going to bring down their grocery prices. Donald Trump would get rid of the immigrants. Donald Trump would get rid of the trans people. And that's what they voted for, ignoring all this other stuff he was going to do. But I can tell you, the people that are now waking up, the farmers that are losing their farms because of Donald Trump, the people that are losing their health care because of Donald Trump, those that are losing their jobs over Donald Trump, they're angry and they're pissed. And they're very likely going to change their votes if we get to an election. If we can make it to 2026, millions of people that voted for Donald Trump are going to be voting for Democrats for Congress. I guarantee you that. But this is what he's doing. He's firing people that take care of some of the most sensitive things in this country. The National Weather Service oversees the entirety of our radar network across this country. When your weatherman, your local weatherman or weatherwoman or whatever, goes out and gives you a forecast, where do you think that those models came from? When they show you the radar, where do you think that radar comes from? When they send you that tornado warning, where do you think that comes from? Exactly. The National Weather Service. If you live on the coast, where do you think that hurricane warning comes from? Those hurricane trackers come from? NOAA. That's where we get all that data. That's how we get all that information. He could have easily just signed an executive order saying, hey, quit looking at climate change. He didn't have to fire anybody that hurt our safety. But anyhow, have a great weekend. I'll see you down the road.